Like the fella once said,
Heck yeah.
ain't that a kick in the head?
My man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for asking. A little wounded though, man. And the thing that's kind of cool is that I was going to see if I could call in for an extra day of rest. And my office says, don't worry, just take another day to relax and recoup. The swelling went down a lot. That's good. Yeah.
So, no, that's good. You got to heal. And you know what? During this pandemic, it allows you to reflect. So for our viewers, one, thank you for being on the show. For our viewers, talk to them a little bit about what got you into cooking, what inspired you to go, in the kitchen.
What inspired me first and foremost, I'd have to say, is bringing people together, bringing family together, bringing friends, including strangers. It's an opportunity to really be very festive in the moment.
Well, that's what you like about cooking. But talk to me before go back in history when you first got into cooking.
Oh,
what did you go into cooking?
When I first got into cooking, where I started cooking for myself, is actually when my mother had my sister Tabitha. We're 5 years apart, and I literally had to start making my own eggs. Starting to do that. I was really highly influenced by KCET. Who else? Who was it? It was several people. Obviously, the Frugal Gourmet, Yan Can Cook, all these cooking shows that were on PBS, KCET. I was just raised with that because my father would watch that and my mother would watch that. And I would just start off simply by watching, obviously, my parents cooking. And then when I started doing it on my own, it was cool. It didn't start off all, crazy, but it gradually increased into some serious moves cooking later on.
So what made you say, I want to do it for a profession?
The feedback that I got from people. It was the feedback that I got from people that I would, try my food. Hey, Chris, you know what? This is really good. You should, really pursue this seriously. And I did try to go to Le Cordon Bleu. This was back in 1998. I graduated in 96. I went there. I got there. I didn't qualify for financial aid, but I did buy the book, and the book kind of still taught me a little bit more, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I just pursued it, even though I was declined a lot of opportunities. When I was in my hometown, they just wouldn't hire me. It's not they didn't hire me because they didn't believe in me. It's just because somehow it just didn't work. And I still persisted, though. I still had, opportunities to see her. I'm going to be 43 now. And this is, I would say, circa of 98, all the way from 98 to 2008 was a very good, big chunk of my education, culinary education.
So first restaurant how long were you at the first restaurant you worked at?
The first restaurant I worked at was Mimi's Cafe. That was my very, very first one. It was in the city of Wood here.
What did you learn there?
I learned the essence of the front of the house, but me at the front of the house, I was able to see the essence of the back of the house. As I was going in, dropping tickets, I would see, everyone just going at it, and seeing everything come up. I liked the food that was there, because it was my first restaurant I worked on, and I started seeing that. I was like, okay, this is something that I could do. This is something I know I'm good at. And then the first restaurant I really worked on as a, in the back of the house, doing prep and everything, it was Allen's Takeout. Allen's Takeout. That was the first restaurant. But I had some previous knowledge, because before that I was working at Whole Foods in prepared foods. And that's where I got a very good handful of knowledge from various different produce varieties. I thought it was just a few options of mushrooms, but no, I was introduced to trumpets, lobster mushrooms, wood ear, shiitake, maitake. I had durian for the first time. That was a very good experience. Yeah. So yes, I had pretty much that form of knowledge at Whole Foods. And then when I embarked into that, I kind of brought the knowledge that I had there into these.
How long were you cooking in the kitchens before you said, I want to go cook for myself and do pop-ups and establish your own style? Because I think you have your own style, and you're mentioning, high volume spots, right? Mimi's Cafe, lots of volume. Yes. Whole Foods, lots of volume.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how long were you in the kitchen before you said, I want to establish my own style?
I would say about 12 years, a good 12 years strong. Yeah, cool. 12 years strong. I've been cooking for over 20 some odd years, so far. And right now, even in my current state where I'm at right now, doing these pop-ups, I still feel, and I've always said this before, no matter who I've worked with or who I'm working with currently, I still consider myself a white belt in the culinary dojo. Because the moment I think I know everything is the moment where it's like I get tripped up, because every chef I've worked with, I always start off at like almost like fresh.
I'd put you at purple green belt. I wouldn't say white belt is Mimi's Cafe. You're learning salads and Whole Foods, learning ingredients. But I
Correct.
put you at, I have a black belt in Taekwondo, so I'm like, no, you're probably purple. I would say green, but I know that you still want to learn a lot. And then red is when you're a badass. Black is like you don't want to get the black. So I would say purple green. Okay, so then what made you go for yourself in the last 8 years, developing your name in the industry, your craft? What drove that?
What drove it was, like I said, the feedback, the words of encouragement. Chris, dude, like, you should do this. There's so many other chefs that I've worked with that they're all, dude, you need to do this, Drisco. Like, Alex Garcia of Evil Cooks, he's like, dude, you need to do it. I've worked with so many people, did pop-ups, and they're all, bro, you could do this on your own. Your flavor profile is on point. You're making sauces, doing everything, salsas. Right now I'm barely kind of getting into fermentation a lot more seriously. Emma's doing a bunch of flavors is where it's at, of the umami balance, everything, sweet and savory, just those combinations done and executed perfectly is some of the best things you could enjoy. And serving it to people and having them come back and tell you that they love your food, to me, that's a very good feeling. And that's what's keeping me going, is through the feedback.
Where do you see yourself in 2 years? If you can snap your fingers, what would that look like for you?
I would like to have my own spot, and I would like to have like a bodega, something that's nice, where I'm able to provide quality artisan meats, almost like a butcher. I do a lot of butchery. I'm not as skilled as I would want to be, but I have efficient and I would say enough knowledge where I could start, and nice cheeses, have a nice little tasting room so people could go and enjoy food pairings, have little samples, make artisan sandwiches, and just overall kind of shift monthly different flavors, seasonal produce, obviously. So that's where I see myself in 2 years, and that's actually in development as far as.
Perfect. That was
Yeah.
my next question. Are you doing the research to make it happen? Because I want people to feel inspired, but also to take action. So that's awesome, man.
Absolutely. And you know what? Just for the viewers that are watching either now or later on in the future, I believe it's imperative to address this very important part. When you have these ideas and when you have these, business plans, stick to them. Keep your eye on the ball. Follow through. Find somebody like maybe me and you, talk and say, hey, you know what? Dude, this is where I'm at right now. I'm stuck. Find it, different forms of resources. Because if you don't have a resource that you want to, go in and just throw out the bat signal out there. Hey, you know what? This is one area that I'm stuck with. Can you send me in the right direction?
Yeah.
Because that's a very good way of doing things. And plus, what that also does, it establishes business relationships. Because you never know, you're going to have a relationship with an electrician, a carpenter, a plumber, you know what I mean, to get everything situated. It's great, dude. It's deep, going in.
100%. Listen, you have to check out this place called Prime and Beyond in New Jersey. It's a two brothers, a butcher shop, but at night it's like a 6-7 table only steakhouse.
What?
Yeah, and
what is it called again? Sorry, Tito.
Prime and Beyond.
Prime and Beyond.
So check it out. They're Korean, but they love steak and they grew up here. So you can go get a tomahawk steak and you can get like a kimchi fried rice, kimchi carbonara.
What?
But it's really successful just in the butchery, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about you, so look it up. It's my favorite restaurant over there. So no, that's good. So I like that. That's your 2-year plan.
Correct.
What has been the most challenging, thing in your journey so far?
Right off the bat, my challenging thing right now is dealing with my mom battling cancer. That's another, that's one factor. The factor is that I'm going to go ahead and be very transparent. I've been suffering with a lot of anxiety throughout this whole pandemic because I'm not able to go out, and because I'm a Cancer, I'm a very social butterfly. That's why I started, doing those Instagram live interviews, because it helps me engage with people and talk about their life's journey and understanding the gems and the jewels that are inside us, and share it with the world. That's what I've been wanting to understand, but I've been battling with that. But not to the extent where it's, detrimental, which I'm very thankful for. But just for the moment, that's what I'm battling with right now. What is actually encouraging at the same time is doing these pop-ups with a very good friend of mine, Chef Justin Disbro of Salvage Alchemy. He's the one that's teaching me how to do fermentation, the right way. We've been working together flawlessly for some months now, and that's things that are kind of helping me at the same time. But for the most part, those are the current things that I've been kind of dealing with currently at this present moment.
So no, and you know what? Prayers for moms. I'm here for you.
Thanks,
So,
brother.
yeah, no, and I had gone through a cancer scare, so I'll call you offline. What would you tell yourself 15 years back when you were growing up? Now, from everything you know and the challenges in the industry, what would you tell yourself, a 19, 20-year-old Chris?
Oh, that would be, that's so funny, because I was just thinking about that. I would tell myself to don't doubt the still small voice in your head, because if you would have listened to it a long time ago, you'd be in a farther place from where you're at today. And what I mean by that still small voice is that I believe you don't need proof when you have instinct. If you have the instinctive inclination and you have that subtle understanding of, that still small voice that's inside your, like your conscious, like your id, or your, in Hebrew, the neshama, understanding the higher self, because I believe the higher self is operating on a different level where it's able to see the bird's eye view. It doesn't see things linearly in the physical realm. And I should have done that, because every single time that still small voice was like, hey, it's like that Jiminy Cricket, like I'm Pinocchio, and that Jiminy Cricket was like right there, like, hey, do it. Yeah, don't self-doubt.
Don't self-doubt. I got it. And so let me ask you this. Let's have some fun questions now, right?
For sure.
What's your pet peeve in the industry?
Having these individuals that have no idea what it takes to operate a kitchen and critique small mistakes, and it's like putting a rock in the shoe of a giant, where they're bringing they're raising a granule of sand and bringing it to a size of a boulder. I really believe that people need to, there's an educational learning curve. Working in a kitchen, it is a living organism. We make mistakes. It's not a flawless thing. If it was, we wouldn't have these situations. But I really do believe that people should at least have a little understanding, like, hey, if you communicate right off the bat, like, say, for instance, when I worked at Starbucks, just to give you an example of elevating the negativity. Normally, Starbucks baristas, they make drinks, they'll go to cashier, and they'll run coffee. I was in transition, and there was a customer that got skipped. And I noticed after making a couple of drinks, this girl was still there. And I said, excuse me, I know that you've been here. I just got on this barista station. What drinks were you, and she kind of gave me an attitude. She said, oh my gosh, I got paperwork to do. I got, all this stuff I need. I got a small, whatever it was at the time, latte. So what I did, I said, okay, hold on really quick. I made her a venti. I gave her a drink voucher for a complimentary drink on her next visit. And by doing that kind gesture, I was able to kind of turn around and elevate the negativity as far as her, because once she did that, once she saw that, she came to her senses and said, you know what, I apologize. I'm on a
building with kindness.
Absolutely. And I do believe that that's a very important factor for people to have a trained eye to note discrepancies like that. If you're a runner, if you're an expediter, and you see that there's a little tension in the air, you know what? Hey, get them a round of drinks or something, or get them a appetizer to compensate for that, you know. And the more communication that we have in those areas, the less, you know, BS that we're gonna get, the yelps, you know, that we're gonna get, you know. Yelp
So
don't help, by the way.
yeah, no, 100%. So that's awesome about the industry. What are your pet peeves in society?
Oh, this is slingshotting back to our discussion earlier this morning. I really am very shocked and disappointed that people are entertaining ignorance rather than educating it.
Give me an example.
Ooh, putting me behind the eight ball on this one. I would say when it comes to other people, there's different things. And my verbal disclaimer will be this. Not one answer is going to be the same for everything. Everything's specifically tailored towards the individual. But if we keep our eye on the ball and keep the main thing, we come to a common ground. And this is the common ground I'm thinking about and I'm discussing. When people do not have a level of understanding or education when it comes to our particular culture, a particular way of living, there is a level of arrogance that's behind. That's the shadow that we leave. The more that we become educated by engaging with a person that we have no understanding, by that engagement alone, or even simple research and development, you know, I really think that people have this arbitrary form of closure, and they don't want to open up the door to a new experience.
Oh, I like that. That's a form of arrogance.
It is.
It's a form of arrogance and also insecurity, right? So
Yes, they're interwoven. You know what I mean? They're interwoven, and I do believe that it's not their fault either. You know, we have to look at a couple of factors. Is it a generational form of passing the baton of the same kind of mentality from generation to generation? In the Mexicano culture, we call that what, machismo.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And all these areas. Now I'm seeing there's different balances, there's different forms of understanding, there's different forms of awareness. But my pet peeve would be the lack of wanting to know what you're afraid of learning. You know, they're you know what I'm saying?
yeah, because we think we can't learn anymore, or we're afraid to show vulnerability or lack of.
You
But
took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, you know, people are vulnerable, but that vulnerability is the best. That is the best form of soil to plant new seeds in.
it is, and I always say you have to be confident to want to be the brokest and dumbest in the room, because that's the only way that I can learn. The best way.
Right? Look, that's why I'm saying, I mean, that's why I still, my grandfather said this, the minute that you think you know everything is the second that you know nothing.
Yep.
So
100%.
I'd rather continually, because if I don't know, I'll ask. I'm not one to just be like, you know, like say for instance, I have no idea where this, you know, the Latinx thing, the Latino, the Latina, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Did you see my post on story or something? I just literally posted about that.
but I'm just saying I think it's important to note that this form, okay, it's a very delicate situation, because you
Yeah,
have
it
a
is.
generation that is born into the structure of thinking. So it's hard for them to get out of that and look at it from a different perspective.
Where the
Because
majority of previous generations are like, get over it. And so
they're
you
yeah,
this
they're hardwired.
yeah. Yeah, no, and that's another interview in the future, even though I'm passionate about that.
Of
Okay,
course.
so we covered your pet peeve with the industry, we covered your pet peeve in society. If the world was ending, what would be your last meal?
Who? My last meal. Obviously, comfort food, because you're gonna need it. You know, it's the last meal. I would say a nice ceviche tostada with a nice, crisp, aspiring beer and some really hot salsa. Because if I'm gonna go out, I'm going out with some fire, yo.
Yeah, no, that's good. So I didn't know you like ceviche and tostada that much. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, dude. I love ceviche. Ceviche is like one of my strong points.
No,
You
mine
know.
too. I love, so we're cevicheros. That's awesome.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
Three people dead or alive you'd love to have dinner with. Who would it be?
Oh, that's heavy. Whoa, you're bringing it up, dude. Hold on. Who? Three people, right?
Dead or alive?
I would say first and foremost, Abraham, Father Abraham,
There you go.
King Solomon.
You're going deep. You're a history buff, huh?
Yeah, King Solomon.
Awesome.
And you know what? Just for one that's, I would say, very, very important, just for the sake of the feats that he's attained. I would just, oh, man, dude, this is heavy, dude. I would say Martin Luther King, man.
Why those three?
Because they're okay. First and foremost, Abraham and King Solomon. King Solomon was the wisest person in the world. What, as far as from what we've read and studied, King Solomon's Song of Songs, he has the Key to Solomon, all that good stuff. Abraham, father of many nations. He was able to understand, and basically break things down and understand a deeper level of this reality that we live in now. And honestly, Martin Luther King, because he stood for something that was not only bigger than himself, his words still reverberate to this day.
Yeah.
The voices of the dead still echo in the canyon of our consciousness. And
how would you describe Martin Luther King to you? What did he stand for?
He stood for the people, not just people of color, but just people in the essence of, I understand that, from a different perspective, it looks like it, but freedom, freedom of speech, equality in its utmost, and I think that is a very strong point that people need to realize. Like, just because it could have been anybody, and you know what? The end game could have probably been the same for anybody else.
Yeah. No doubt. Hey, I love it. I love the fact. When did you? I love that. I love the diversity. So I heard a little drum back there. I heard something. Yeah. What is that?
Oh, this is a really good drum. I got this for my birthday. I got this from Motherland Music. This is a very big. This is called like a djembe.
Mm-hmm.
Its name's Dodger because of the blue. Nice Dodger colors.
You see my giant colors.
Yes, I love. Yeah. I love. This is a really good sounding. It sings. I'll play a little bit.
Play a little bit. What got you into music?
Funneling my anger. I used to bang on tables at Parnell Park when I was younger, and I would just utilize beats. Never was trained musically. My former father-in-law, who passed away, his name was David Torres, played with Poncho Sanchez. I've known Poncho Sanchez, since I worked over at Herbie's, and he'd give me, his learning CDs and everything, and he'd show me different stuff. Traveled with them and the band, because I married his daughter Linda, and just
Poncho Sanchez's daughter.
No, David Torres' daughter, who was the piano player, and also he's played with Califas, Tierra, the Midnighters with Willie G, and he played the past 26 years of his life with Poncho Sanchez.
Nice, man. So let's get into that.
All right,
give me some riffs. Give me some riffs.
This is something that David had taught me. It's a nice little funky beat. That's one.
You know what? I know you got some quick hands because it mutes the mic out. So give me something a little bit apart.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me take off my because I wear these beads to accent sounds on my wrist. So let me see here. I know because of the sound.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I can tell your technique, I can tell your posture, and I can tell the slaps. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome. You're gonna have to incorporate music open mic into this place that you want to open at some point, because
Oh, of course.
you'll never work a day in your life when you're doing what you love.
Absolutely, man.
You know,
And I'm thankful for that. I'm sorry if the echo distorted
it's
the
okay. It's
sounds.
okay. I love the fact that I got to learn that about you. Let me ask you this
Of course.
for our viewers.
Yes.
You know, you've come a long way from your days at Mimi's and Whole Foods. What is the one thing that you can look back and say made you and gave you the confidence that you need to fulfill your dreams? What's the one thing that our viewers can act upon?
Dude, straight out, you have to accept your failures as stepping stones that are the stairway to your level of success.
I like that. I
Yes,
like that, brother.
absolutely.
Listen, Drisco, man, awesome. I want to talk to you after COVID. I want to have you give updates to our viewers how you're going to achieve that 2-year goal once the new normal comes, man. And
Absolutely.
I loved your passion for history, and I also like your humility. And now I even enjoy how we met through your podcast is because it's your form of fulfillment during these challenging times, brother.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Yeah, it sure definitely is.
I appreciate that, brother. So thank you much for your time, and we'll stay in touch, bro.
Absolutely. Do me a favor, keep up the good work and make it a good day.
The room was
Always.
completely black.